I always talk about startups, funding, scaling, growth, exit, strategies, the ecosystem. I'm a founder myself. I'm an angel investor. I'm also a funding advisor. So I bring the last, 25, 28 years of experience to the table. And I discuss topics that will help you as a founder not just thrive, but really make a difference in this world, right? To change the world. All right. So today's topic is building a community around your startup. Well, it is an ultimate guide, but as you can imagine, these are daily episodes. So I do try and go in depth, but I also try and keep it within, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes because any longer than that on a daily basis, it'll be boring for you and probably also a little bit difficult for me, right? I've been doing it for a number of weeks now, and I'll try and continue this. Anyway, so building a community around your startup. As we all know, a strong community can be a secret weapon for startup success, driving organic growth, fostering loyalty, and providing valuable feedback. In fact, I said, as we all know. Well, do we? A lot of people don't know this, right? A lot of founders don't know that they need to be building a community around their startup right from day one. In fact, from day zero. I would even advocate that for this is for founders who have not yet begun the journey. Start with a community, build a community, and we'll talk about what a community means. It means different things for different founders, different startups, different market segments, and all that, right? So let's see how we can harness the power of community for your startup. Now, the value of a strong community. What is the value? It enhances brand credibility and trust. What does that mean? Okay, let's talk about the different stages of your startup. Let's talk about the first stage, which is funding. So you're bootstrapped and you're ready to go for your pre-seed or seed funding. If you have a community already built around your startup, and when I say community, this is audience that are interested in the idea of your startup, the product or service that you're building, the problems that you're going to solve, or the problem that you're addressing, right? That is the community, people, the audience around that. That creates credibility and trust. Imagine you put together a community of, I don't know, 5,000 followers or 5,000 community participants. This could be on LinkedIn, this could be on Twitter, whatever. And I'm not talking about just the numbers, but engagement. Because, like I always say, investors are not fools, right? They can take a quick look and they will know immediately what's happening there. But imagine you on your pitch deck, under traction, you talk about this community that you're building and the passion of this community and how they engage with you and your brand and with your team members and the whole buzz around your startup. That means a lot to investors. So it creates brand credibility and trust, provides valuable feedback and insights. If you're further along in the journey, so you've already got your funding and all that, yes, it creates further kind of credibility and trust. This is for other customers, but also the feedback from your community will help you make your product better, make your service better, make your software better, and make sure that you're really solving the right problem. Okay, so I've done a series of videos on validating your idea, making sure that you're solving the right problem for the right kind of audience, all that. So go back and take a look at those videos. But yes, this feedback will enable you to further fine tune that problem solution dynamic. Drives organic growth and customer loyalty. Of course, dynamic growth, organic growth is where as a startup, maybe part of your GTM, go to market strategy is, of course, utilizing Google AdWords, Facebook advertising, LinkedIn advertising, Instagram, whatever, right? These are all paid advertising. But our organic growth is fundamental. You need paid kind of advertising is a peripheral, it's a support structure for organic growth. I've seen so many times startups, fund founders make this big mistake of having a GTM that is solely dependent on putting money into deriving traffic. And Yes, it works, but it's not as effective as it would be with organic growth. Trust me. And of course, customer loyalty, you're not going to get with paid advertising. You need to build a community and you need to nurture that community to have that customer loyalty. Fosters networking and collaboration opportunities very much, especially in the early stages. Let's say you're still on the journey of trying to seek funding. Networking and collaboration that can feed back into your pitch. If, let's say, through your community you've built some partnerships, you build potential partnerships, you have some relationships, you can put that down. You can show potential investors that, listen, I've got these relationships with this. They are influencers within that market segment. They are a big deal in that market segment. They can enable me reach certain goals, milestones, so on and so forth. Right. Identifying your target community. So what is this community? Who are these people, right? Define your ideal customer or audience persona. Now, I've done several videos in the past and I will do more in the future, but this is where you begin. This is where the story begins. Not even with your idea, obviously, right? You didn't get an idea out of nowhere. Your idea is to start to solve a problem that a set of people have. Those are the ideal customers. Those are the audience personas. You need to really double down and fine tune this. Spend time, effort, money in making sure that you nail this. Understand their needs, values, and pain points. Usually, people just look at pain points. They say, oh, okay, this set of audience has a problem with this particular thing in this sector. I'm going to solve it. Okay, that's good. But go beyond that, especially with your audio personas. Use brand archetypes, audience archetypes, so that you can then have your brand archetype. And the archetypes and the persona gives you the needs and values, because you need to understand what your audience values are so that you can align your brand values to those. And hopefully you already have genuine values that align with your audience. If not, okay, you're going to have trouble down the line. Needs are more important than pain points, because sometimes you have a pain point, but if you don't figure out the needs of your audience, yeah, you're not going to service them effectively. Determine where they spend their time online and offline. Okay, this is somewhat of an obvious thing, but you got to figure out what's going on. If your audience hangs out on LinkedIn, then start building that network, that community on LinkedIn. Have a group and all that. Or have your community as a website, and you could be using any of those community software websites, but also use LinkedIn to send people there. If your community hangs out on Twitter, then focus there, so on and so forth, right? Align your community with your startup's mission and vision. So, community building is all about values, mission, vision, of your mission and vision that aligns with the values of your audience. If these two sync, you're going to have a great community, right? And I'm in the middle of building a similar community. For this Founderama is an effort to build, so the end game is to build that community. Why? Because number one, I want to continue working with founders. I'm passionate about founders. And if you look at my social media footprint for the past few years, going back 2008, 2010, 2012, 16, 2020, all that. If you look at my social media footprints, the things that I've said online, the things that I've written, the videos I've made, it's all about founders. It's about helping founders be effective and build startups that are going to change the world. Now, that's fantastic, and I've a lot of content out there. But now I want to really focus in, because now I have an added dimension. I want to give access to my syndicate of family offices and angel investors, and I want to create a community that can have access not only to me, my content, my experience, my advice, but also access to funding. And I cannot do that with open platforms like LinkedIn, for example, or Twitter. These videos, for example. because that syndicate of family offices and angel investors, I've built relationships over many, 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 many years. And I want to curate a community that I vet, that I build relationship with, and of course, eliminate the audience that don't fit my values or my values don't fit with theirs. And at the end of the day, I want to have, 300 people in my community. Yes, 300, very small number, but this is a curated community. Then I will open up the kimono and then give them access to my syndicate and all that. So anyway, mission and vision, very important. Building the foundation of your community. Develop a unique and memorable brand identity. So for your community, you need a brand identity. And this is not just about the logo. A lot of people think brand identity is just a logo. In fact, I'll be doing a lot of videos around brand strategy, positioning, USP, the brand messaging framework, brand story, all that. Now, a brand identity is, yes, of course, the look and feel, the logo, the colors, but the tone. What does it mean? If you look at Founderama, for example, there is a consistent look and feel, not just in terms of, okay, my black and white video of me, the yellow and the red logo, this red background when I'm doing slides, but it's also about me and my personality. It's about me and how I come across, right? For some, I may come across as serious because I don't smile much, or I don't joke that much. I'm not like hello. Yes, I have a lot of passion, but it's a very serious and stern passion rather than hello guys, come on in. Yeah, maybe I do that. I don't know. I don't know. You tell me, right? So that kind of memorable brand identity is important, right? Create valuable, relevant, and engaging content. It's all about the content. It's all about the value you're giving your audience. Because at the end of the day, it's exchange of value, right? You give your audience something of value, and in return, they give you their attention and they give you that relationship. They give you that bonding. And what do you do with that? You can monetize it, of course. There's nothing wrong with that. You can also utilize that to help your startup, go to the next level, which is also monetization. Or it could be just, I did a video on mental health and founders and all. It could be just that, peers networking, helping each other, so on and so forth. Establish a strong online presence on social media and other platforms. Okay, do I need to say that? Just for sake of completeness. But yes, so to build a community, you need to really be strong with your ideas, with your thoughts, with your expressions, with your sharing of knowledge and all that on social media and other platforms, right? Foster an inclusive, welcoming, and supportive environment. For instance, the community that I'm building, yeah, it's going to be inclusive, of course. It's going to be welcoming and supportive, but there is an entry barrier. So it's not an open for all. It's not a free for all kind of a situation where, it's up to you. You can have a free for all, because if your community, if you're thinking of building a community that has no upper limit in terms of the number of people, then it's okay. For mine, I'm going to have, I think, 300 curated, supported, and then, it's a supportive environment. Okay, engaging and nurturing your community. Consistently interact with your community members. If they're sending you DMs, make sure you answer those DMs. If it goes into hundreds of DMs, then hire a virtual assistants, right? Or a full-time assistant, who comes into office, so that they're the first level of handling the DMs. And then the core of that, the ones that really need your message, because there might be, engagements where community members, you post something and they just say, wow, thanks for sharing. Or, oh, brilliant, I love this. For those, your VA can simply say, oh, thank you so much. You're very kind. Yeah, I hope I'm glad you enjoyed it. Things like that. It doesn't matter. That's not a disservice. That's not being disingenuous. It is good. It is authentic. It's okay. Just make sure that you communicate that now and then. Maybe in a video, in a post, say, guys, gals, um, most of the time it's my VA, but when you really ask a question that needs my opinion, you're asking for my 2 cents. It's me, right? Okay. Listen, respond, and act on their feedback and insights. This is very important, right? This is very important because if you ignore feedback, if you ignore insights of your community, um, yeah, you're not building a good relationship. Organize and participate in events, meetups, and online discussions. Be active. Be active. Have okay, maybe okay. What I'm doing, for example, is a daily live episode. Yeah, it's probably a bit of a overkill, Monday to Thursday. I may end up stopping doing that if it's just gets a bit overwhelming for me. Right now it's okay because I've been creating videos, YouTube videos, for years now, right? I didn't have any specific goal. I just made videos, and there are hundreds of videos online, so I'm pretty comfortable making videos, coming on live events, doing webinars, because I spend all my time on on video, either this, or I'm on Zoom calls with my team members who are spread around the world for my different businesses, my teams that build software for me and my clients, or it could be my clients whom I'm always on Zoom calls with when I do strategy, for example. These workshops last half a day, sometimes a full day on Zoom. And yeah, so if that's too much for you, that's okay. That's okay. Maybe a weekly AMA, ask me anything, or a weekly episode, or maybe a video every week. All that, right? So meetups, fantastic. Right now, for example, these meetups are going to be very important. And yeah, I'm doing meetups in Valencia, in Barcelona, and in Madrid, because I'm meeting some some of my founders that actually a set of founders that we've secured funding for them. It's in the last stages, and we're doing the final kind of paperwork and stuff like that. So once I meet, I'm meeting those, and then also meeting other founders that I've found through LinkedIn, whom I've been engaging the last few years or few months or whatever. And I've told them, I'm in Valencia, I'm in Madrid, so I'm meeting them. They're friends, so we're meeting. So yeah, so these are very important. You got to do that to build your community. Empower community members to become advocates and ambassadors. Give them the empowerment so that they feel like, and that happens when you listen to them. That happens when you give value and you take their insight or their feedback and you implement it. They feel like they have a stake in your community, in your brand, in your startup, in your software, right? And they become ambassadors. How many times have you touted the greatness of a product or service online, even though you are not being paid, just because you love it? You love that product and service, you love that community, you love that founder, you know. So yeah, this is very critical. This is very important. Scaling your community for growth. Implement systems and tools to streamline community management. And that includes finding a robust community software. This could be Mighty Networks. There are many community software out there. It could be something as simple as Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups, very easy. Then, if you're having a lot of community members and there's a lot of chatter going on, and you're realizing that you're starting to fall behind in that nurturing, in that kind of thing, hire VAs, hire people who can take care of a lot of the communication and all that. Hire moderators and so on and so forth. Identify and leverage partnerships and collaborations. Maybe there's somebody else who has a community that that is something similar, or it's complementary. Even if it's a competitor, try to brainstorm, reach out to them, talk to them, have a discussion. Maybe you guys can combine forces. Maybe you can feed off each other's communities. Maybe your community members can benefit from that, collaborations, and so on and so forth. Explore new platforms and channels for reaching a larger audience. Yeah. If, for example, you're posting stuff, written text, and it's becoming too much, and maybe consider putting all that together into a video, once a week, so on. Or TikTok, maybe you've not done that, so on. Continuously evaluate and refine your community building strategies. Okay, so community building is not just, it should not be random. It should not be just up in the air. You need to really strategize, figure out, and find an advisor or a mentor who can help you with this, right? Do that. What about the return? Why? Why should you build communities, right? Increased customer acquisition and retention. If you have a community, your customers will will be much more loyal to your brand and all that, right? So acquisition becomes easier, of course. Retention becomes easier. Improved brand awareness and reputation, obviously, because there's a lot of chatter. It's not just a software they're using; they're also part of your community, right? Stronger relationships with stakeholders and partners. When your partners and your stakeholders realize there's a community and they're a part of that community, you will have stronger relationships with them. Higher likelihood of securing funding and resources. And I've explained why at the beginning of this episode. You will secure funding if you have a genuine community. When you're seeking funding, you're going to. All right. So that is building a community around your startup. Now, my own community that I'm building right now, I'm going to announce that in the next couple of months. And then I will start the interview process. For my community, it's going to be not just simply signing up. It might change, but I'm thinking you sign up and then, we get on a Zoom call. It's going to be, no, first I will do my due diligence because I cannot get on a Zoom call with everyone who applies to become part of my community. I anticipate, I'm going to get thousands of requests or at least hundreds. So it's not really easy. So first, I'm going to hire someone to go through all these applications that come in, shortlist them according to a strict set of criteria. Then I will take a look at them. Out of that, I will further shortlist ones that I will correspond either on LinkedIn or Twitter messages. And then from that, I will shortlist further a few that I will then get on Zoom calls with, and then make sure that we align, and then give them access to my community. And I will announce that. So we'll see how that goes. Fingers crossed. If you have any questions about this, if you're in the process of building a community already, and you got stories to share, you got some insights, maybe I missed some points here, maybe I don't know some of the points I talked about, or maybe they're not completely wrong, but maybe they're out there. Please call me out, send me that. I will talk about them in a separate episode, or share your story. But if you have any questions, DM me on LinkedIn or on Twitter, and I will try and give you my 2 cents. All right. So till the next episode, go forth and